So, artificial intelligence is pretty much everywhere you look, right? And schools, well, they're scrambling to figure out what to do with it. But for a lot of teachers, all this buzz just creates more confusion and, frankly, more pressure. In this explainer, we're going to cut through all that noise and find a clear, practical way forward.
Okay, let's just jump right in with the big question that's on everybody's mind. Is this new wave of AI in the classroom actually helping students learn, or is it just another distraction, or worse, a high-tech way to cheat? Well, it turns out the answer really depends on how we decide to use it.
And that brings us to the core problem, something our source material calls the pressure trap. You know the feeling? It's this idea that schools have to be using AI right now, so they rush to adopt it without any real strategy. And this approach? It almost always just leads to frustrated teachers and not much else.
So let's dig into that a little more. What does this pressure trap actually look like on the ground? Let's break down exactly why this top-down rush to use AI so often backfires.
Well, it usually starts with a mandate from leadership to just use AI. This leads to what you could call token usage. You know, trying a tool once or twice just to check a box. But without any real training or time to figure it out, teachers are left totally unsupported. The result isn't better learning, it's just more frustration and burnout.
So, that's the trap. But what if we completely change how we think about this? What if, instead of seeing AI as another thing we have to do, we reframe it as something incredibly useful, a personal super assistant for every teacher?
And this gets us to the absolute core idea here, meaningful AI. Just think of it like this, an intelligent assistant whose whole job is to handle the tedious, repetitive parts of teaching. That way you, the teacher, can focus on the irreplaceable, human parts of learning, like mentoring, sparking curiosity, and leading discussions. And this comparison really lays it all out. There are two paths, right? The wrong way is using AI as a shortcut, where it just writes the essay or gives the answer. But the right way, the assistant model, is where AI gives feedback on a draft, generates practice problems, or helps with routine grading. It frees everyone up to focus on the stuff that really matters. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It's not about replacing teachers, not at all. It's about empowering them. Let the machine do the machine's work, so the human expert can do the human work. Okay, so that's the philosophy. And it sounds great, right? But what does it actually look like in a real, honest-to-goodness classroom day-to-day? Well, this next part is a practical blueprint for exactly that. The whole strategy breaks down into three really simple stages that every teacher is going to recognize. It's all about what you do before class, during class, and after class. All right, step one, before your students even walk through the door, instead of spending hours sifting through homework, you could use an AI dashboard to see instantly, okay, these three students are really struggling with stoichiometry. Then, in seconds, you can have the AI generate three different warm-up tasks for them. One for remediation, one for review, and one for the kids who are ready for a challenge. Personalized learning prepped in minutes. It's a game changer. Now, what about during the actual lesson? Well, the teacher kicks things off with a great, human-led discussion to introduce the big idea. Then, the students can shift over to an AI tutor for practice that adapts to them. And here's the magic part. Because the AI is handling all that personalized drill, the teacher is now totally free to pull aside that small group they identified earlier and give them direct, face-to-face help. And finally, after class. Just imagine students submitting a draft of their lab report. And AI can do that first pass, checking for basic stuff like grammar, structure, and clarity. The students then revise based on that immediate feedback, so now, when that report finally gets to the teacher, their valuable time isn't spent fixing commas, it's spent focusing entirely on the quality of the scientific thinking. And look, this new way of working isn't just about saving teachers time, as amazing as that is. The real goal, the ultimate prize here, is unlocking a much, much deeper level of learning for our students. If you think about it, in a traditional classroom, a ton of a student's mental energy, their cognitive load, gets eaten up by repetitive drills and basic practice. It's necessary stuff, sure, but it's not where the deep, lasting understanding is built. But when you let AI take over that routine practice, it frees up all that mental bandwidth. And suddenly, students have the brain power left for the really challenging and rewarding work, like designing their own experiments or analyzing complicated data. So the payoff is just huge. The AI can instantly flag common misconceptions, like mixing up speed and acceleration. This lets the teacher step in at the perfect moment, and the student's whole mindset shifts from just trying to know a fact for the test to truly mastering a concept they can use for the rest of their lives.
Okay, but let's be realistic. A model this powerful can't just be up to one heroic teacher trying to do it all on their own. For this to really work, it needs a much bigger, systemic shift in how our schools and districts support their people. For any school leaders out there, this is the most important takeaway. The mindset has got to shift away from mandating technology and toward facilitating teacher success. The goal isn't just to use AI. The goal is to improve learning, and AI is just a tool to help us get there.
So, what does real support actually look like? Well, it's not a one-off webinar, I can tell you that. It's small groups of teachers learning and trying a tool together over a whole semester. It means giving them protected, paid planning time to actually rework their lessons. And it means leaders should be evaluating the learning, not just checking a box to see if a tool was used. You know, at the end of the day, the technology is already here. It's in our schools, it's in our students' hands. So the real question isn't if we'll use AI anymore, it's how. This framework gives us a path out of the pressure trap and into a future where AI actually helps us reclaim the human heart of great teaching. The tool is here. The question is, are we ready to use it wisely?